Good morning, everyone. I'm Lindsay Gleason. I'm the Assistant Director here at the Community Foundation of the New River Valley, and I manage our annual Give Local NRV Giving Day. And today I'm going to share some quick fundraising tips as you think about planning for the Giving Day. So to give you an idea of how it went last year, in terms of average gives, who participated and that sort of thing, here's kind of the rundown. 106 organizations received donations. 50 raised $2,000 or more. 42 had 25 or more donations. And then the average raised, which ranged from a $25 gift to over $100,000. So all of those averaged was 7,300, and the average number of donations was 38. Then the median raise, so right smack down the middle, was 1,600, and the median number of donations was 15. And I share those numbers so you have a sense of how folks did in the past, and to let you know that any amount raised is more money in the bank for your mission and your organization, but you're not necessarily going to raise tens of thousands of dollars. How successful you are, it depends on how much planning you've done, how much outreach you've done to donors. If you have a big base of existing donors already, it can really vary. So when you're thinking about goal setting, keep these numbers in mind, but whatever you set your goal for, tailor it to your organization. If you feel like you have some big donors who want to give $500 gifts, $1,000 gifts, and you can have a higher goal, even though you don't have a huge donor base, go for it. If you're kind of just starting out with fundraising, you might want to set a lower goal, maybe something in the $1,000 to $3,000 range, and kind of aim for a lower amount, and then work on building up momentum when you participate each year. So when you think about fundraising for this event, the first thing I want you to do is avoid these assumptions. So there's an assumption sometimes that by signing up for the Giving Day, my organization will automatically receive donations. This is not the case. You have to make sure that you're reaching out to your supporters, so let them know that you're participating and make your case for support. The Community Foundation provides the Give Local NRV platform for free to organizations serving our region. We provide trainings and resources, and happy to provide one-on-one support, but the other side of it is that your organization has to put in the work to reach out to your supporters and make your case and drive them to your page to make a gift. And that leads me to my next one. Donors don't need to be reminded that we are participating. You have to remind your donors that you're participating in this event. Everyone is busy and they have a million things going on, and they want to support your organization, but they just might forget that the Giving Day is coming up. So it's your job to make sure that you remind them. And then the last common assumption we hear is Giving Days are only about fundraising money. Certainly, this is a fundraising tactic, and it's a great tool, but this is also an opportunity to engage with your supporters, maybe turn some of your supporters into donors if they haven't given before, re-engage donors who haven't given in a while, and just tell your story. So there's a lot of different goals that you can have for a Giving Day event. Just know it doesn't just have to be about fundraising money. So the next piece is to set your goal. You want to be specific about what you're fundraising for. So think through, do you have a piece of equipment you want to buy? Do you have a particular program that you just started or in the past hasn't gotten as much attention and funding that you would like? Are you raising just general operating support? Figure out what you're fundraising for. And if this is your first time participating in the Giving Day, or it's been a while since your organization has participated, I highly recommend choosing lower fundraising and donor goals. So when I say lower, I would say think of something between $1,000 and $3,000. And that might not sound like a ton of money, but the reason why you want to set a lower goal is because you're introducing your supporters to something new to them, potentially, or it's been a while since you participated and they've sort of forgotten how it works. So they might not be used to you asking them for money at this time of year. So it's a way of easing your supporters into, hey, I'm participating in this event, and the reason why we're doing it is because there's a lot of publicity and we can potentially win a grant or prize. And it's a way to kind of join in on this big community day of giving. Choose a lower goal and work on trying to surpass that goal, as opposed to choosing like a $20,000 goal and only making it 10% of the way there. So it's much better to have a lower goal and surpass it, as opposed to setting a super high goal and not being able to get to it. And then lastly, determine if you want to go after a grant or prize. This year, we're offering $20,000 in grants and prizes. They range from $500 to $1,500. Some are based on the amount of money you raise during certain periods. Others are based on the number of unique donors during a certain period. And when we say unique donors, we mean unduplicated donors. So take a look at that list and determine if you want to build your strategy around going after a grant or prize. And even if you don't win one of those, you still used it as a tool to motivate your donors to give to you. The next tip is develop a list of people to engage in this work. So if you don't have a huge donor database, if you're kind of just starting out with reaching out to individual donors as opposed to going out with grants, that's okay. You can still find success with this event. So what you want to do first, regardless of how big or small your donor list is ID your top champions. And those might be people who are serving on your board. Maybe they're longtime volunteers. Maybe they're people who go to your events a lot. Maybe they're longtime donors or people on your staff. So figure out who you're going to engage and let them know, hey, we're participating in this. Let's work together to reach out to folks and spread the word. You can reach out to major donors and potential sponsors and ask them if they want to create a matching grant. A match can be a really motivating thing for your donors, and something as low as $200 can be motivating. So you can ask a donor who maybe they give a $500 gift each year. Ask them if they can make that gift in June, and you can use it as your match. And then you send out messages to folks saying, hey, if you help us get to $500, a donor will match that money, give us $500, and then all of a sudden we're at $1,000. And you can, that kind of language is motivating to folks. So see if people want to participate in that, because it's a great opportunity, particularly for business sponsors, to get their name out there, and you can spread the word that they're supporting your event through that match. Then gather a list of past donors and figure out, have they given within the last year? Have they given, maybe they gave in a few years back, and kind of have a couple different lists. So what you could potentially do with those lists is send out a note to people who haven't given in a while and say, hey, we would love if you could be a part of this event, and here's how to give. And then you could tailor another email to that list of folks who have given more recently and say, thank you so much for supporting us in the last year. We really appreciate it. We have another opportunity coming up. Would you like to support us? And regardless of when someone gave, and we recommend reaching out to everyone, even if someone gave really recently, people want to know that you're participating in this kind of event and how they can support you, especially because their dollars can go a little bit farther if you win a grant or prize. So people always have the option to say no or opt out of fundraising emails, but just make sure you ask them. And then as you're building your list, ask people, your staff, your volunteers, your other top champions, to reach out to 2 or 3 people in their personal networks and ask for a gift. This is a way to keep building your donor database, but also engage your top champions in helping your efforts. And I say 2 to 3 friends or family because certainly people can reach out to more, but if you give them that smaller task of, hey, can you reach out to 2 or 3 people, or maybe it's one person, can you reach out to one person and ask them for a gift? Make the ask small, and it might feel more doable to folks. You might have someone who's really excited and sends out a note to 50 people, which is great, but the goal there is to find ways to ask people to help you, but maybe it's not a huge task for them. The next tip is to develop your communications plan. So you want to tell your story, and you use both numbers and narrative. Reiterate these messages across all channels. So what do I mean by that? So I have an example here of a food pantry. You kind of want to show the breadth of your work of, through our food pantry, we serve 500 people a month. And that's a lot of people, right? But then interject a personal story. And with this particular case, you'd want to remove identifying details. But you could say, you know, we had this young mom come to us one day asking for assistance, and this is how we were able to help her and get her plugged into different services. So just think about in your organization, what are some of the big numbers you can tell and share with folks? And then what are some of the stories you can tell to make it more personalized? And you want to be saying these messages across every channel. So if you're emailing people, you're telling that story. On the fundraising organization page on Give Local NRV, you're telling a story there. You're telling it in social media, at events, and so forth. And that's you making your case for support to make a gift for this event. And be sure to share what your overall fundraising goal represents and share what donation amounts represent if possible. So we're raising $4,000 because we have a pet food pantry at our organization, and we really want to show that program some love and raise money for it and raise awareness for it. You know, a $25 gift can buy 4 bags of cat food, and so forth. Like, so if you can break down what specific amounts can represent, either for a specific program, or if you're kind of raising money for more general operating support, you can say a gift of $10 can do something like, and give examples. So it's not necessarily specifically going to that specific thing, but you can give examples of the kind of thing that you buy or use regularly in your organization, so people have a sense of what they're giving to. And then when you're thinking about spreading the word, don't go out and create a bunch of new things. Don't join a bunch of different social media platforms right at the start of June. That might not be the best way to use your time. What you want to do is ID how you're already communicating with supporters. So do you have an email newsletter? Do you have a website? Do you use social media? Do you send out physical mail? Do you have events? And figure out ways to share the word in all of these places. And if you're kind of a one-person show and you're doing a lot of stuff, concentrate on one thing. And the one thing I would recommend that you concentrate on is that email list and sending a strong email to folks and then reminding them to give. That will be a very powerful tool for you. Number 5, reach out to supporters early and often. So let them know that they will be hearing from you a little bit more than usual with the giving day. And allow them to opt out of emails. You know, you can just have a line in there that says, hey, we'll be emailing you a little bit more about giving day. If you don't feel like hearing about it, just send me a note and I'll remove you from the list. But you want people to know early that you are participating and let them know how they can help. Tell them to save the date and then remind them again at least a month out from the giving day, hey, this is coming up and we would really love your support. And then once June 1st starts, which is the start of the early giving period, let people know, hey, early giving is here, please make your gift. Or if you're asking folks to help you with a specific prize or grant that happens on the giving day itself, ask them to wait and make their donation on the giving day at a certain time, or whatever you decide to do, whatever your strategy is. But just remind them, and then you can keep them updated on your progress. Maybe you send another note a week or 2 after early giving starts and say, hey, we're 30% of the way to our goal, or 10 donors have given, can you make your gift now? Whatever it is, let people know what you're doing and how it's going. And then on the giving day itself, let them know it's here and that this is why their gift counts and where you are in your fundraising progress. So don't count on them, you know, putting it in their calendar necessarily. Some people definitely will. Other people just need to be reminded. We're all busy. We all get a lot of emails. So just make sure you're keeping them abreast of what you're doing and how it's going. And so again, number 6 is kind of reiterating that point. Make sure you're keeping supporters updated, but it's adding the make sure you're thanking them piece as well. And so this kind of goes through a few things that I just talked about of progress updates. These aren't things you have to do, but I would highly recommend, it's okay to email people a little bit more when you're participating in an event like this. Make sure that you're sharing how it's going, how they can help, remind them of what you're fundraising for, because that repetition is really important every place that you're sharing this information. And then make sure once the giving day is open, report on the results after the event. Don't assume they'll go back and check your social media or your page on the Give Local website and see your results. Make sure they know, hey, we raised $3,000. Thank you so much. You know, 31 of you gave a gift and this is what the money's going to. So you're constantly saying, hey, this is what we're fundraising for, and this is how you can help. And then at the end, this is how you helped. And try to think of creative ways to thank your donors. We've seen folks do thank you videos. We've seen people write individual thank you notes to everyone who gave. That's a great idea if you have board members or volunteers or other staff members who want to be involved and help out. Just write a quick thank you note saying how much it meant to you that they participated, then you appreciate their gift, and that little extra touch can help a lot. So again, in all of this, you want to be reminding people you're participating. You want to remind people what they're giving toward and be as specific as you possibly can. And then find ways to be creative in your communications, or be creative in how you're thanking them. But let them know that you notice what they did and you appreciate it.